Happy Monday, everybody. It is chamber check-in time. And today I have this distinct honor and pleasure of having a conversation with the president and CEO of the Idaho Potato Commission, Mr. Frank Muir. Hi, Frank.
How you doing, Paul?
I'm terrific. Hey, I'm excited to learn more about the Idaho Potato Commission and get to share your story and the why the commission is around. This state has so many good things about it, but one of the biggest things that we're most well known for across the globe is our agriculture. Mm-hmm. One of those things is that potato, right?
Right.
Hey, and before we get to our discussion, I get to thank our series sponsor for these chamber check-ins, Delta Dental of Idaho. You know, Delta Dental of Idaho, they're the experts in dental insurance. They have best-in-class customer service and their benefits are backed and designed by the largest network of dentists in the country. So thank you, Delta Dental. And with that, I get to show a fun little tooth truth factoid. So here we go.
Did you know that 20% of patients wear braces between the ages of 20 and 60? Looking good, adult peeps.
Braces. My kids are in the midst of those already. But so Frank, tell me about your history of work, and then we'll dive into the Potato Commission. I want everybody to know who the man is behind the brand.
Well, I've spent about 40 years in brand management, marketing, packaged goods marketing with very large consumer products companies like General Mills, Conagra Foods. In the last 18 years, I've been the president and CEO of the Idaho Potato Commission, trying to take all of my marketing background and apply it to agriculture, particularly with the Idaho potato. So that's what I've been doing.
Wow. Tell me a little bit of how the Potato Commission got its start and when.
It's a great question. So in 1937, the farmers in Idaho, over in eastern Idaho, felt like they had a very unique potato. And but they realized they're nowhere near population centers. We're talking 1937. So they felt they needed to take their potatoes and go back east, particularly to the New York market, and demonstrate their potatoes. Well, that began the desire to create an organization that would be funded by all potato growers. Well, the only way you can do that fairly is to have what's called a checkoff in agricultural language. And they went to the state of Idaho legislature and they asked to create an organization, a state agency, if you will. It's called a checkoff. And that's how the Idaho Potato Commission was formed in 1937. It had a little bit different name then. I think onions at that time were a part of it as well. But in time, it became focused on potatoes. And with that fund, began an effort to begin marketing potatoes back in the East Coast. And to this day, New York remains our biggest target market for Idaho potatoes. You cannot go into a New York restaurant and not find an Idaho potato.
That's fantastic to reach that type of credibility with our agriculture, you know, not just in our nation, but globally as well, which I think is, you know, kudos to the commission for bringing it up to par. Tell me more about the potato and why it's such an integral part of the state of Idaho.
Well, you know, I like to point out, and you mentioned it already, that Idaho is a worldwide brand because of the potato. I've traveled to over 30 countries in my effort to expand Idaho potatoes around the world. And as soon as I say I'm from Idaho, they always say potato, and regardless of what language they're speaking. Idaho potatoes are known worldwide, and they always say it with a smile. It's a positive image. The Department of Tourism did their own study some years ago, and they sent the results to me, said, you're really going to like to see this. They created word clouds for all 50 states, asking people, what do you think of when you hear the word California or Arkansas, New York, or Idaho? The word cloud for Idaho had the word potato so large it filled the entire page. In other words, they didn't think of anything else when it came to Idaho. And I've said this many times that Idaho is known more for potatoes than any other state is known for anything else. And then when we do our own research, we ask consumers, when you hear Idaho potatoes, what first word comes to mind to you? And the first word they say is quality. So what brand would not kill to have the first word come out of people's mouth is quality.
Right.
And so the state, and no other state can say that quality follows behind the word Idaho. And so what I believe has happened over the years is Idaho had created a brand, but then allowed it to become what's somewhat stale. Yeah, people knew Idaho grew potatoes, but it's kind of like corn was grown in Nebraska and Iowa. Yeah, that's true, but who cares? So my role 18 years ago was come on and revitalize that brand image to create a brand. When I was hired, the Atkins diet and other low-carb diets were pounding potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
People were not eating potatoes. And so we had to reestablish that potatoes are actually a vegetable, and they're actually good for you. And kids will actually eat them, which they won't eat a lot of other vegetables. So that began our focus of what I called the Fight Back campaign to really revitalize Idaho as a brand. And to this day, now we're shipping fresh Idaho potatoes, not only throughout the U.S., we're by far the #1 growing region, but we are shipping fresh Idaho potatoes into over 20 countries right now. So, and that's in the midst of a pandemic. You know, we're still by far the strongest potato state and shipping to, internationally, like I just referenced, even through the pandemic. So, and what I would say that's most important to the folks here in Idaho, well, what does that mean in terms of revenue? When I was hired 18 years ago, farm gate revenue, which is the revenue that farmers collect, was about $500 million. We've now, the last 5 years, have been averaging over $1 billion a year.
Wow.
So you can't really call a vegetable a commodity when it's growing at that kind of rate. We're not a commodity. We are a brand. And it's helped leverage other businesses, I believe, from the state of Idaho. You come to Idaho because you know it's a brand, it's a state that conveys quality, not only through potatoes and all agriculture, but also through other areas such as industry or high tech. Idaho means quality.
Absolutely. Hey, and since 1937, when the commission was spawned, and today, how has the commission maintained to new people coming into our community, to marketing towards the outside world, and what other events kind of that you helped start and launch in your last 18 years?
Great questions. Well, one of the ones that I'm most proud of is the big Idaho potato truck. We put to celebrate the 75th year. We're now in our 84th year as a commission, but to celebrate the 75th year, we came up with this creative idea to make these postcards come to life. You know, you see these postcards and truck stops saying, "We grow them big here in Idaho."
Right.
Well, we have this crazy idea. Let's bring that to life. So we put a 6-ton potato on the back of a semi-trailer and started rolling it across America. And it became so iconic and a part of Americana that every parade across the U.S. has really demanded the truck to make an appearance. So it's been in the Chicago St. Patrick's Day parade. It's been in where they dye the river green. We have been at the Memorial Day parade in Washington, D.C. We've been at the Pegasus parade that precedes the famous race down in Kentucky. And we've also floated the truck on a barge right in front of the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, we've been to the 48 states. We haven't been to Hawaii or Alaska yet. We're still working on that. But we've been doing this we've traveled probably 400,000 miles now. Wow. And we always give back into whatever community we're stopping. We do what we call a big Idaho potatoes, a big helping, supporting local causes nationwide. It's a way of our saying thank you to all of the states for supporting Idaho potatoes. And we do a little event in each city that we stop in, and we get a lot of publicity, TV coverage, news coverage. So that's just one element is a big Idaho potato truck. Another is the famous Idaho Potato Bowl game that used to be called the Humanitarian Bowl. Kevin McDonald, the executive director of the Humanitarian Bowl, came to my office one day asking if I'd like to be a sponsor of some signage in the stadium. And I said, well, is the title sponsorship available? And he asked me, are you really serious about that? And I said, I'm very serious. So we started a discussion. We obviously secured the deal. ESPN later bought our bowl. So we're part of the ESPN Disney family, our bowl game. And it's now one of the most iconic bowl games of the 30 bowl games. If I asked you who the title sponsor of the Rose Bowl or the Cotton Bowl, you probably can't name them. But if I ask you the title sponsor of the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, you know who that is. It's the one played on Boise's famous blue turf. So that's one example where we promote locally the bowl game, which is good for the community because it brings these teams and fans, brings $1 million every year for the bowl game into the community. Yeah. At the same time, we get national ESPN coverage. That's a 4-hour infomercial on Idaho potatoes during the bowl game. So that's another one I throw out. Fun one is the New Year's Eve potato drop. Dylan Klein came to me with this idea a few years ago, and what do you think about dropping a potato downtown Boise for New Year's Eve? And we started brainstorming, and now we've been doing it several years. And ironically, 18 years ago, the state legislature was considering a potential bill to remove famous potatoes from the license plates of Idahoans. And now to think, and we were able to kill that bill back then, but Idaho was in a position, they were thinking about really trying to walk away from potatoes. Now we've brought it back to where it's cool that Idaho and potatoes are linked together. Well, now I love to think that the same legislature, the same capital that considered pulling famous potatoes is now supporting dropping an 18-foot Idaho potato in front of the Capitol, where 30,000 people come out in ice cold weather to watch it. And I've asked multiple times, how many of you here are from out of state? And there's thousands of people cheering. Then I'll ask them how many people are from out of country. And hundreds of people cheer. They're from out of country. They come to Boise because we drop a potato. They want to see that happen. And then last but not least, the first potato we put on that truck, it started to get a little worn, a little road worn. Yeah. And so we donated it to Christy Wolf, who was one of our tour ambassadors, who also built tiny homes. She turned it into a tiny Idaho potato home, a hotel that you can go on Airbnb and you can stay in the famous Idaho potato that traveled across America, including the barge in New York Harbor, and you can stay there. And there's people that are coming all over the country and the world to stay in an Idaho potato. Now, how cool and relevant is that today? And you can see how that makes Idaho a brand to people.
Absolutely. Well, and it also is a great thought to think about how agriculture has put us on the map, and what great work that the commission has done, especially you, Frank, over the just less than 20 years of maintaining that and elevating that. Thank you for putting in the effort and the investment into these events that you're talking about. That's phenomenal.
Thank you, Paul. I've got a great team here. There's a total team of 18 that includes 6 people that travel all over America, calling on retailers, food service operators. We're a pretty small staff, but we wear a lot of hats, and we really do bleed russet brown here in the state of Idaho.
That's great. Hey, we talked a couple months ago, and I think we talked for about an hour on the phone, Frank, and it was just a great back and forth. And I got to hear your story. And one of the things you mentioned to me is that you're retiring soon.
Right.
So after 40 years in marketing, almost 20 with Idaho Potato Commission, what's next for you, Frank?
Well, we have a lot of grandkids, and so we'll be spending a lot of time with grandkids. And my wife has communicated with me. We're going to be visiting a lot more of those countries that I haven't been to yet. And so we'll be doing a fair amount of traveling. I'll be giving back to the community in other ways, also to my church and service that way. I have some people talking to me that are interested in having me do consulting. We'll see about that. I do have this creative side of me that it's going to be hard to turn off. It wants to keep generating ideas, and I love to bring things to life. One of my favorite quotes is, every idea is crazy. Every new idea is crazy until it works. And we've made a few of those crazy ideas, like a 6-ton potato traveling across America, work. And
Wow.
and those are the things I love to do. And so how far will I continue to do that into the future? It's hard to say. I'm also very like to be very physical active, train in martial arts and do skiing, and so there'll be a lot of things that I'll keep active in that way too.
Okay, I was at the Humanitarian Bowl, famous Idaho Potato Bowl, and one of the commercials you had on there was a friend of mine who lives in Driggs, and his son was the student driver on that commercial, where they're backing up and going forward, and the driver of the potato truck was kind of his instructor. It was just a fun thing. So, and not only are you doing stuff for the local community, you're putting local community people on the big screen too.
You know, I'm glad you noticed that. And yes, the student driver was from Idaho. Also, Mark Coombs, who is the star of our series over the last 10 years, is a local farmer and has grown potatoes many, many years, and still an active farmer. James Hoff, who was in the owner of the biplane over in eastern Idaho, that flew that. He is a real Idaho potato farmer too. I got to be the stunt double flying in the front of that Stearman biplane when we filmed that commercial. All our commercials for the past many years, we have produced them right here in Idaho, using local talent and using local production crews who do an outstanding job. We use local folks to do most of the stuff we do. We do give back, and we get great return on our investments here in the state.
Awesome. Well, a great segue to that is thank you for your investment in the chamber. It means a lot to us. Thanks for your tenacious efforts to keep our potatoes top of mind. That only helps overall tourism and our gross profit for our state. Go visit Frank's website, idahopotato.com. They have got some great resources for not only like recipes and fun things to do, but for retailers who are looking at different ways of elevating their categories in the food section. Awesome recipes that include different ways to cook that potato. How many different ways are there, Frank?
There's over 1,500 recipes on our website. And you can also, if you're on a diet, any diet, there's recipes that'll fit your diet plan.
Wow. Okay, Frank, it's been my pleasure to have a conversation with you and help share your story and the Idaho Potato Commission story. Thanks for carving out time. Good luck with your retirement. We will miss you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. Shout out those grandkids.